Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille show. My name is Jerry Miller. It's Wednesday. It's good to be with you. We are live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. A lot of positive news on today's horizon and today's program. We're navigating COVID-19 together as a community. We're talking trends that appeal, that certainly apply to any community, but we do it from a Charlottesville and Central Virginia landscape. We're live on 12 different Facebook pages. Then we take each show and we syndicate it across the I Love CVille network, which is about 17 Facebook pages, Twitter accounts, e-newsletters, the third largest Instagram in the community, and a podcast on Apple Podcasts and iTunes that reaches a lot of people. We're an advertising agency, and we love working with the small businesses in this Charlottesville and Central Virginia community. Two of our favorite partners, Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine, and Interstate Pest and Service Companies. These two businesses really making a positive impact in Charlottesville. Interstate Pest and Service Companies, a 4-generation-strong family business, and Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Thank you for joining us. We asked you to give it a like and give it a share. Jen Jacobs, the Executive Director of AHIP, is going to join us in about 15 minutes. Brian Donovan, we have Brian on the docket. Is that right, Judah? Rob from Beck Cohen is going to join us. And we also have Taylor Sutton from Tiger Fuel Company on today's program. We're going to get to headlines here. We'll get to your comments. I already see them coming in. I think the first headline I want to talk about is the reopening that's happening here in Charlottesville, Virginia. We put this on the I Love CVille network. It's very quickly getting a lot of engagement and interest. About 70 restaurants, vineyards, wineries, and breweries reopening on Friday. Now, we can reopen in a limited capacity, mainly outdoor seating. The vineyards and the breweries have a huge advantage here in that they have huge outside space. We're hearing Devil's Backbone has the ability to do 100 people, 100 people in a turn. We're hearing Three Notch has got a very good, very safe and healthy plan that they're rolling out for Friday's patio service where they're serving food. You have Glasshouse Winery, and Jeff has sent us and reached out to us directly on the I Love CVille network and said, here's our plan, Jerry, to open. Please let your followers know. Wisdom Tree is opening a fabulous brewery. Ace Biscuit and Barbecue opening Friday at 8 a.m. Blue Ridge Country Store on the downtown mall is opening on Monday. You're seeing the brands and the restaurants and the wineries that we know and love test the waters. And I think it's important for us to consider a cause and effect of what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a slow test. And I think consumers and diners and wine drinkers and beer lovers are going to go slowly back to their favorite places. You'll see a younger demographic coming out first, a younger demographic that is more confident because the numbers say perhaps they're not as impacted as much from COVID-19 as the older demographic with symptoms already in their body. So I predict a slow turnout. I predict that the businesses that do open will have business. We're going to support businesses in this community that are opening. We're going to do it in a safe way with masks on. And we'll follow closely what happens. I don't think, if you take anything from this program, I don't think we should put anyone down or discourage or draw a line in the sand and say, you're doing this, we're doing that, you're wrong for doing this, you're wrong for testing them, you're wrong for going out and going to the restaurants or the wineries or the breweries, or you're right for staying at home. Let's not judge. It's a fluid time. And the businesses that are open, I can assure you, the businesses that are reopening on Friday, I can assure you, because I've spoken to them, that there is a level of uncertainty in the back of their head. Okay? But these are folks that are thinking about their team members, that are thinking about keeping money in people's pockets. They're thinking about rents that they have to pay. They're thinking about their families themselves. So let's not draw a line in the sand. Let's just be open-minded to see what happens. I'm going to rattle off. I've confirmed with people at the businesses, some of them just big names that are opening on Friday. Glasshouse Winery, King Family Vineyards, Wisdom Tree, Blue Mountain Brewery, Blue Mountain Barrel House, Three Notched, Ace Biscuit and Barbecue, Pro Renata, okay, Random Row. And it's a lengthy list, and I'll continue to spotlight it here on the I Love CVille show. Give it a like and a share on any of the Facebook pages, any of the 12 that you're watching this program on. We will get to the comments that are coming in. I want to run some headlines before we welcome Jen Jacobs to the program. First headline is from a macro standpoint, and it's from the Federal Reserve. I was watching this morning, CNBC at 9 a.m., the Federal Reserve Chairman was leading one of my favorite shows, and Jerome Powell, the Chairman of the Fed, said more policy measures are going to be needed to get this economy out of a downturn. So get the first headline on screen and the thumbs up when it is, please. Thank you. So he says more policy measures are needed. I'm going to try to put this in a nutshell of what this means. You have a man who's extremely influential in determining how quickly we rebound from this potential recession or downturn. And he is saying, on the record, with all the financial institutions and everybody that plays the financial markets, all the policymakers, everybody on the Hill in Washington, everybody on Wall Street, huge interview. This guy at 9 a.m. today says we need more policy to get us out of this hole. And that means you're going to see another round of relief. And you see what the Democrats are doing in the House right now, and they're planning a new $3 trillion relief package that's going to trickle all the way down to Charlottesville and Central Virginia. As part of this relief package, Democrats are calling it the HEROES Act. Okay? They have $1 trillion for state and local governments. You heard that correctly. Of this $3 trillion package, a third of it is allocated for state and local governments like Charlottesville and the Commonwealth. Okay? $200 billion for essential workers. $75 billion for COVID-19 testing, tracing, and isolation efforts. And a new round, listen, everyone, in this plan, a new round, I'm going to stand up, a new round of direct payments for Americans of up to $6,000 a household. So, Chairman says we need policy to get out of this. Fed Chairman. The Dems and the Republicans are going to try to find some common ground. We can probably expect another round of funding to trickle down to see if we can get out of this. It's something we got to watch, and I think it's something that is a storyline to follow, because I think the backstop that's happening now from the Fed is helping not only communities like Charlottesville, but communities everywhere. Okay? I'm excited to see this. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, because we know there's a lot of people unemployed, 33 million, and we know a lot of people need some money because they're uncertain of what's happening. Another storyline that I'm following very closely here, and it's piggyback for the one that I just delivered, was from UVA Hospital. And it's an unfortunate one. And if we could get the UVA Hospital headline up from the CVille Weekly, it came up on the website today. 561 UVA Hospital employees have been put on full-time furlough or unpaid leave. They're being encouraged to use their paid time off for going on unemployment. It's so crazy. We're in this crazy time where the health system is being bombarded, but it's being bombarded by a demand that is not sustainable for the current health system business model, which it's creating the health system to throw its hands in the air and say, we're losing $83 million a month, and now we're having to furlough 561 people. It's an unfortunate situation. It's an unfortunate situation. That's why I think the relief needs to trickle down. That's why I think we do need another round of relief. 561 people is a good chunk for one employer, especially locally. And to ask the 561 to use your paid time off or to go on unemployment, that's a real conversation to have. Follow that closely. Another storyline to follow. In Charlottesville, we talk often about this affordable housing crisis, right? and how we don't have enough supply, and the supply we do is just going up so drastically in price that such a large percentage of the population can't afford to either own or even rent here. Well, there's an interesting story that's happening that I'm following closely that you should as well, and it's from Twitter. And Twitter yesterday said all of its workers can permanently work from home. I'm going to relate this to Charlottesville, Virginia. Twitter says all of its workers can work from home. Twitter is often first in Silicon Valley and leading trends. It's a darling, if you may. So the question I'm going to ask from you, the deeper we get in this work from home economy and mindset, and using Skype and Zoom to connect with our peers and to make sure efficiencies happen at work, and if Twitter is allowing all its team members to work from home, what if this becomes popular? How could this impact housing stock in Charlottesville or in communities across the country? Could this, in fact, drive prices down or make it more affordable? For example, if Twitter says, employees, you can work from home and don't have to come into our Silicon Valley office, we will still pay you a Silicon Valley salary, but you don't have to live in this area anymore. If I was a family man working for Twitter, I would consider moving from Silicon Valley, still maintaining my Silicon Valley pay, but maybe going into the suburbs where the housing stock is more affordable and you can get more bang for your buck. If that does happen, doesn't that create a little less demand and potentially open some supply in the San Francisco market? And consider this. If you're able to work from home from your employer, maybe you can get a job as a digital nomad in New York City and work in Charlottesville or work in Kansas City. I think it's an interesting topic to follow, how this digital nomad work from home mindset is going to impact the price of housing and whether it's going to drive the affordability index for housing, because right now it's a pinch and there's not enough of it. Another story I'm going to follow closely before we get to Jen Jacobs of AHIP. Have you seen the dogfight that's happening in the Republican Party between Denver Riggleman and Bob Good? Oh my goodness. This is a fight to the finish in the 5th District with the Republican Party. You're talking lawsuits, voter intimidation, arguing and bickering. It's getting straight up ugly. And the Republicans are literally in the 5th District trying to steal a second run away from Denver Riggleman because he officiated a same-sex wedding. Worth repeating. It sounds crazy to even say this in a 2020 time. You have a portion of the Republican Party in the 5th District that is trying to steal this seat from Denver because he officiated a same-sex wedding. You have a gentleman and you have a challenger, and Bob Good, previous ties to the Liberty University Athletic Department and its fundraising, now making a push at Denver. You're going to have a convention where a small group of Republicans, 3,500 to be in fact, can choose who gets the nomination from the party. 3,500 people are going to do this, guys, on June 13th to determine who the Republican is for the 5th District seat in a fight against the Dems as we head to November. The Republicans are going to hold a convention in Campbell County, Virginia, at a church. They're going to invite 3,500 people to come to this church in Campbell County in their car, roll down their window, and do a drive-by voting. 3,500 people in Campbell County, Virginia, at a church will determine the Republican nomination for Congress in the 5th District. That is crazy. It's crazy. Think about that. You try to control the situation because you're frustrated with Riggleman's politics in the same-sex wedding. That is crazy. You think that's something like from 100 years ago, and it's happening in 2020. Follow that story. I certainly am. Jen Jacobs is going to join us in about 1 minute on this program. We also have a jam-packed show in the 1 o'clock hour, including Rob. Is it Rob Buonomo, Judah? Okay, he's our director. We need you to get on that mic. And Taylor Sutton, the operations manager at Tiger Fuel Company, is going to join us. I'm going to run head to Skype. and I'm going to welcome Jen. I enjoy Jen because she is a upbeat, high-energy person. I think anyone who knows Jen Jacobs can confirm that. I'm going to reach out to her now. Did you do it by the Nellie Bly Skype? Yeah? Beautiful. Good man, Judah. Thank you. I'm reaching out to her now. AHIP is a positive contributor in this Charlottesville and Central Virginia community. And we're looking at one of the head honchos over there. And Jen, we have her on the line. Let me get you to activate that camera so we can see your beautiful face. Here on Charlottesville and I Love CVille, we see you. Judah, we have Jen on the line. All right, Jen Jacobs, you are live for Charlottesville, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world.
Finally.
How are you?
I am well. I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. My friend Keith Smith from a show that we do on Friday called Real Talk, he taught me this. He said, before we get into it, ask your guests, how are they personally doing? How's mental health? How's everything in their situation? So I want to do that.
Okay.
How's it?
I'll tell you. It's going okay. I will say that my kids are older. They're in high school. And if they were little or toddlers or, I would be in probably much different shape than I am now. But they're big and self-sufficient. They can do their own schoolwork. And so we're doing great. I got a dog last summer.
Really?
And I did. And
so still a puppy.
Well, we got him when he was 1 year old from Augusta SPCA. So he still acts like a puppy though, and he's awesome. So I'm getting out more than I would have before and enjoying the weather. So I feel like my outdoor time has increased, which is really good.
Good.
I miss shaking hands. I miss hugging people, and I miss just sitting in rooms with people for sure. I definitely have some Zoom fatigue.
Same.
And I'm worried about the state of the world. There's also a lot of uncertainty in the nonprofits. I mean, everywhere, right? The uncertainty is everywhere. But in our organization, the nonprofit side, we're grappling with a lot of uncertainty, both in how we serve, not just housing, but everywhere, how we serve people who are in dire need, how we maintain our own operations and see around these corners that we just can't see around. So but I'm doing okay.
I would want nothing more than having you here next to us.
Yeah.
And then we're just like laughing and playing on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me throw this to you here. Give us an update into what is going on at AHIP.
Sure. So we are working. We have slowed down. When all of this broke and the governor, started with the restrictions. We're a construction company, right? So we're an essential service. And we decided that we would be very careful and clean up after ourselves and keep going as long as the clients wanted us in their houses. Because as we saw it, it's really interesting to hear the state mottos and companies and everybody repeating this mantra of safe at home and safer at home. We've been saying that forever. And it's really been quite surreal to hear it repeated back at us now from the world, talking about what we all need to be. So we figured that we would continue to work and do this work to make sure that if people, if their roof caves in or you have a terrible plumbing leak, they're not threatened in their home by other things other than becoming sick. So when April started and we were continuing on, and then one of our crew guys got sick. And we weren't sure if it was COVID, but he had all the symptoms, mildly sick. He was fine, and he ended up being fine. But that really threw me for a loop because I had been so focused on logistics of continuing and how to communicate to people and the cleaning and all of that I hadn't actually gone through the exercise of what would happen if somebody actually came down.
It made it real.
It made it so real, and I will never forget that text that I got the night before, the night that I found out. And then I was like, oh, wow, okay, so we got to shut everything down, because not only had he been in 2 or 3 clients' houses, he had been in vehicles with the other guys who had gone into other people's houses. So we had to kind of do our own contact tracing and let everybody know, which was hard. And we work with a lot of elderly clients. I have over half of the clients we work with are elderly, and many are not physically well. So it was a real gut punch in terms of our responsibility to the people that we work with, which is a real tension because we have a responsibility to help them and we also have a responsibility not to help them. And we're sort of stuck in the middle. So we decided that we would just pause for the month of April. We applied for the PPP loan grant, and hoped that would come through to be able to cover our revenue losses. Because like a construction company, when our guys aren't working, they're not getting paid. So there's a direct effect there. But we decided to pause and wait for April to finish. And now that things are lifting and a lot of time has gone by, we've decided 2 weeks ago, we started up again on a limited basis. And we're doing mainly outdoor work. So we're trying to stay out of people's homes unless there's plumbing and electrical that absolutely needs to get done. We also had some of our guys do some essential work around our building here, since we're like the shoemaker's children, like things don't ever get done. So they spent a couple of days doing that.
Can we talk about this? Because I respect your analysis so much here. Can we talk about this, the dichotomy or like the juxtaposition of like, I want to be safe for my wife and my son and my in-laws that are here. I want to be safe for the community to get over this. I want to be able to, for our team members, to figure out to get them some compensation so they can stay alive and pay their bills. I want to do well by our clients. I want to do well by, it's like, I forget what it's called, but it's like the circular diagram, and where the middle, like all the circles middle, it's like that's the meeting. It's a Venn diagram?
Yeah.
Venn diagram. Thank you, Judah. That's why Judah's here. Thank you, Judah. You're so smart. And I'm in the middle. Can we just talk about the struggle of balancing that?
It feels like an impossible struggle. Because I feel like with this crisis, it is in every corner. I mean, it's impacted everywhere. So there's no safe place. It's not like we can say, okay, well, this segment has been impacted, so we'll just go over here for a time. I mean, it is everywhere. And that tension of taking care of the people who are close to you and the greater community, while also making sure that, more harm isn't done, or how we mitigate that harm through the use of public resources or adaptive strategies, which has been it's been really interesting and really cool to watch local businesses, pivot and evolve to make it through. And, we've had to do similar work to that. But it is not easy, and I don't think there is an answer, and I think that makes it really hard. As humans, we want certainty and want to know, and as problem solvers, we want to be able to fix it, and we're bumping up against just an unprecedented time, so I agree.
Well, I appreciate that like vulnerability, because like that's what we've been talking about like for the last 45 days is that struggle. It must be great when you're like AHIP to help manage like vulnerability like that, or the uncertainty when you have partners like Tiger Fuel, like Beck, Cohen on your side.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like when we can partner with strong businesses, we can sort of lean on their strength and their capacity to be able to help us. So if we've got some funding sources now that we're not able to recoup because we can't work, Beck Cohen or Tiger Fuel are now stepping in like they've done for 2 and 3 years now, and they can fill that gap for us. So not only do they amplify what we're able to do in good times or in relatively stable times, now we're able to turn to them to help us fill the gaps when things are unsteady. And as like good, strong, well-run companies, they are super reliable at this time. So they've been awesome. And they're just great people to work with, like on top of it all.
How are you hearing the community? What are you hearing about? Tell some stories you heard from the community. Something that where you're like, wow, moved you, positive. If you have a positive one, if it's not a positive one, I can totally appreciate it and respect, receiving that as well, because you have a good pulse of what's out there.
Well, I will say that I've been really heartened. On Monday, I had a call with, we have a local kind of loose association of the housing providers in town, the nonprofits, and we added in, so it's CHALK, which is the Charlottesville Albemarle Affordable Housing Coalition, and then CLIC, which is the Charlottesville Low Income Housing Coalition. So a bunch of us got together. I don't know, there were probably 10 of us on the call, and I'm loving the way that, not that we weren't doing this before, but there was less urgency But I love the way that everybody was coming together for a solutions-based approach for what we are jointly advocating for from the city and the state and the federal government. I mean, there's lots of opportunities to pool the resources, especially from the federal government, to help fill in these gaps that, like we just talked about, we're uncertain about when we're going to be able to generate those on our own. Not to mention pre-existing strains and stresses and lacks that we had dealt with before, like the inability of incomes to track the cost of housing, especially for low-income people and people of color. So seeing this group on this call come together to really put their heads together and try to figure out the best way to advocate, again, in an environment where everybody is struggling, including the localities who I don't envy, looking at their revenues plummeting. But there wasn't any sort of combative attitude. It was just real problem solving. Nice. And everybody's hurting, and it's really tempting, I think, to kind of fold in and just advocate for your own organization. But that is not the time to do this. We're more effective if we can do it together. So I really appreciate my colleagues in space. Everybody's really working toward the main goal, which is to make sure that people are okay and they don't slip into poverty or their poverty doesn't get intensified, and they don't become, the worst case homeless. And for people experiencing homelessness, that they are not put at more undue risk for infection and illness and continued homelessness. So that is something that's fresh that I just did on Monday that I'm very grateful for.
Ray Cadell, your buddy, says nobody does it like AHIP. I'm a huge fan of AHIP, huge fan of Jen. You guys are fantastic. And if you can see it here, a ton of comments like this coming in. And I knew that when we were scheduling this interview, that people would look forward to your energy and your positive attitude, because I think that's one of the amazing qualities about you. I don't know, Jen. I feel where you are headspace wise, because it's just I see this glimmer of hope, right? I also don't want to put the cart before the horse and be let's not set us back.
Right.
And I'm pent up because we haven't been doing the stuff we love, so I don't want that to cloud my judgment. I also want to support all these amazing people in Charlottesville, because that's what makes our community so great, and I see them struggling and afraid that they may go away. And the thing that I'm most excited about, what I'm seeing, is exactly what you're saying. All these people are innovating. The first week, it was holy, what the heck is gonna happen? This is the proverbial, what is hitting the fan. And then we started figuring it out and just making things happen. Can I throw that to you? The community figuring things out and moving forward.
Yeah, and that's what we do. And I will say, just to put a plug in for the nonprofits, this is regular life for us. We get thrown curveballs on a regular basis. We have funding for a couple of years, and then suddenly the funding disappears, and we're oh my gosh, we gotta go over here. It's never quite as dramatic or traumatic as it has been, honestly, but it is heartening to see people, and I feel that's something else that humans do really well. We try to figure it out. We try to find a way to problem solve, which is why people are doing it. It's also why this is so hard, because ultimately we can't fix this problem when we don't know what's around the corner. We don't know what's going to happen to the spread of second wave, all of this stuff. So I think that is that's what keeps us going, and that's what also is creating such dissonance and such difficulty around this, because we can't just problem solve our way out of all of it. But I think it's been inspiring to see the attempt to do it, and the goodwill in the community has been.
You got your boys Rob and Taylor coming up. You got any inside nitty gritty here that I should ask them and catch them off guard with a question? Anything I should throw their way?
God, I should have thought of something. No, they do great on their own. We love working with them, honestly. They send us volunteers and in-kind support, and they're a part of the extended AHIP family, and they're just awesome.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope to see you again soon.
All right, Jen, you're awesome. You have a good one. Take
All right, you
care.
too.
All right,
Thank
she
you.
is so awesome. A lot of the agents watching the program right now, giving her some props. Wendell Gibson, the contractor, hello. Thank you for joining us. Rachel Burns, I see you watching the program. Hello, Rachel. Thank you for joining us. Eliza Whiteman owns Fly Dog Yoga, watching the program. Hello. Judah, we have Rob on the docket from Beck Cohen, I believe, and Rob is scheduled for about 1:05, so that's in about a minute. I'll go to him. I'll let you know when we reach out to him, okay? That's under the Matt handle there on Skype? Okay, thank you, sir. AHIP, lucky to have them in the community, guys. And I'm curious, I'm going to throw this out there again. I want you to really follow what working from home can do to housing stock. It's going to take a while to truly be impactful. And a community like Charlottesville is not going to feel it in the first stage at all. It's going to first impact major metropolitan areas and where true innovation and workforce talent is located. That's where it's going to impact first. But it'll have a trickle-over effect. It'll have a trickle-over effect indeed. Give it a like, give it a share. A lot on any of the 12 Facebook pages you're watching. A lot of the people leaving comments like this. Jerry, can you go back to the restaurants, vineyards, and wineries that are opening on Friday? I like your take about not judging the people that are going out to drink a beer or have a burger, because my family and I are certainly going to do that. I am feeling pressure from people about not doing it. I promise to be safe. I just want to support the restaurants that we really enjoy. That's a good take right there. I'll ask that to Matt. Maybe I'll throw that to Taylor. Matt, it's ringing right now on Skype, Judah. We have him on the line, and we got your camera active. Look at the branding in the background. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm going to straight up say this. You now have taken over as the top branding backdrop. You've took it away from Guadalajara, number 3 on JPA in Fry Springs. They had a branding backdrop that was almost as good as this. You're number 1. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Oh, you're very, very welcome, Judah. Thank you for having me. I do have to say one thing. Jen is one of my all-time favorite people. She is upbeat. She is a lot of fun. And she does a great job at what she does.
I agree. And the Judah you spoke with before was our director.
Yes.
I'm Jerry. You're Rob.
Yes, sir.
And Rob, I want you to introduce yourself to the viewing public. You have a lot of folks in Charlottesville and Central Virginia watching you right now.
That's great. So my name is Robert Buonomo. I am the Beck Cohen HVAC manager. I take care of all the installs, help with service. We have our duct sealing division. So I wear many hats here. I enjoy it all.
Let's discuss what you guys are doing with AHIP and the fabulous Jen.
Okay, so what we do with AHIP, we went to them about 3 years ago, and we were looking to partner with somebody to help our community. We felt it was time to give back. The more we give back, the more our name gets out, and then the more we could help in turn. So we asked if we would partner with them, and we sat around their table, and they asked what we wanted to do. And so Matt, who is the president of Beck Cohen, simply said, we want to do one system a month, labor-free, at 10 months out of the year. And the other 2 months out of the year, we want to do completely free systems. The first 10 months systems, like I said, they're labor-free, and Lennox gives us the equipment at an incredibly deep discount. And then on the other 2 months, Lennox gives the equipment completely for free at no cost.
So it sounds like it's win-win-win-win, Rob.
Yeah, it's first of all, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be fun because I'm a capitalist at heart, but we did the first one, and I got my first AHIP hug, and I got all choked up, and since then it's become I've grown to appreciate helping others. Which my wife and I always have, but I will ride into heaven on her coattails. But it's twofold. We're helping people, and to be honest with you, the guys that work with Beck Cohen and the women that work with Beck Cohen, they all get on board. And we were wondering how that was going to work when we first started this. And everybody has pulled their own weight, happy to do it. We always make an event of it. for the guys, giving them lunch and breakfast and inviting people down. So it's a lot of fun, and we do get to help a lot of people.
Rob, I love that take. That was a great take right there. You're on fire right now. How about that? How about that struggle right there? You talk about this. You mention it. We talk about this often on the show. The struggle of focusing on running a business in the black to keep team members fed and everybody getting a little bit more every year. We do 7-8% here at our company, and it's because we work hard. But balancing it in a way where we leave Charlottesville in a better place at the same time. That topic to you, my friend.
Oh, well, it's for me. I'm not the numbers guy. Okay, I am the production guy. I make sure everything is moving smoothly, and I make sure the employees have what they need, and the business gets what it needs from them, and the community gets what it needs from us. I can tell you that during this period of self-quarantine, the COVID-19 period, so to speak, the best thing that I could do, that I felt that we've done successfully, is make sure all the guys in the field feel comfortable with going out in the field. We make sure they have their masks, their gloves, their gel for hand cleansing, and we're letting them know that they're safe. We have calls to each of our customers, letting them know that the guys are coming in. We send them a letter every time we go out, letting them know our protocols so that they can expect to see the protocols. And also we ask our customers if there's anybody in the family who has been sick or contracted the virus, and so we can let our employees know. We also instituted contactless service calls.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, so we can, sometimes we may have to get into the house to work the thermostat, but with our Lennox app, we can actually turn on and off the system from outside.
Nice.
And check everything we need to. We can jump in the crawl, jump in the basement without coming into the main part of the house. We can get a quick path to the attic in case we have to jump in the attic, but other than that, we don't have to touch anything or see anybody, and everything is filed paperlessly through our iPads. And even if they need to sign off on an estimate, we email them that, and they can email the okay back.
Look at Beck Cohen getting all 2020 right there. Beck Cohen.
Well, let me tell you, it was 2020 in a couple of weeks.
I was going to say, Beck Cohen went 15 years in the future in a week, right, Robbie?
Yeah, Robbie, listen to you. It's like my father's talking.
Let me throw this to you, Robbie. I'm going to throw this to you. You're killing this interview, homie. I'm going to throw this to you here. All right. We focus a lot on business here on the show here, and a lot of folks very real, very honest. Whether it's transportation, hospitality, tourism, restaurants, it's hurting out there. It's tough times.
It's ripping us apart.
Can you give us some ideas from a Beck Cohen standpoint?
Well, from a Beck Cohen standpoint, we've been lucky. Okay, we've had our sales have been out a few months. So during the COVID period, we had that to rely on. Our biggest problem, and that's going to all end for me on May 15th, is weather. Okay, nobody's turning on their systems, nobody's turning on their heat or their cooling, nothing. So we don't know what's broken out there yet, and we don't wish that on anybody, but it's inevitable.
And what you're saying, May 15th, it's going to get hot as hell?
You watch. May 15th, my summer. I'm telling you that right now.
I like your style, dude. I like this guy, Judah Wickower. I like this guy. All right, how about this? You personally, your family, your
my family.
Your family. How are you guys managing this?
Well, my wife and my daughter is the Albemarle 4-H representative for the 4-H club, for the extension agent. I'm sorry, she's going to kill me.
Okay. She's watching.
She probably is. So she's the 4-H extension agent for Albemarle County. She is working from home. There's not a lot for her to do except for email her parents and all the schools saying what's canceled and what we're going to do about it. Her husband, he's a chef. He's at home. My wife is at home. My son is at home at their houses. They're all older, just like Jen's kids. But every now and then they forget that dad is still working. He's still pulling his 55 hours a week. You know what I mean? But they still have lists. They got nothing else to do but make lists for dad to do. So that's my biggest problem, is that I got 14 lists. There's only one of me. And
I love this guy.
But it's a lot of fun. And my kids are rock stars. They're killing it. They're killing life. They're 24 and 25 years old, own their own homes.
Nice.
They're doing well.
You get the honey-do list from the kids too?
Yeah, well, I help.
Okay, you're a good man. You're a good man. All right, let me throw this. You and the family, when things get back to whatever the new normal is, we don't even know what the new normal is, right? When things get back to us being able to support small businesses and do the things we love to do, what are you and your family going to do?
Oh, my household likes to throw parties.
Okay.
So we'll just, when it's safe, and only when it's safe, we will throw a rager. We just like that. We like having our friends and family around. We like being outside. We like having, I don't know if, we like having lots of Jello shots around. We like to have lots of great food. We like to have our neighbors come. We just like to have a good time with our friends and family. And, we're the I love you man type family. You get together with your friends, everybody's hugging. So that's very much missed in my family.
Beck Cohen undoubtedly picked the right man for this interview. You are like hitting a freaking grand slam right now, Rob. All right, final word. Anywhere you want to go, the show's yours. You can highlight any topic you want, any partnership you want, anything you want to cover at all. Okay,
so what I would like to highlight is that we were sitting around for the last, month thinking, what can we do? What else can we do? We're partnered with AHIP. We do a great job with them. Whatever they need, we help. We decided to do something for frontline workers and nurses.
Ooh.
So what we did is we partnered with the Charlottesville Radio Group and all 6 of their stations. Nice. And we have a contest, and it's called Win One, Give One. And what we're going to do is we're giving to 2 different people. We're giving a pure air purification system for their home, along with an AeroSeal duct sealing to keep contaminants out of their air. It has a UV light. It has a MERV 16 filter, which is surgical grade. It has carbon backing. Okay, and each package is worth $4,600.
Wow,
which is great in and of itself.
Yeah,
but any 2 people can win. The caveat is that those 2 people have to have a nurse friend that they can give the second one that they get to. So it's over $18,000 worth of stuff that we're giving away. And you can go to any one of the Charlottesville Radio Group's websites to enter.
I love it. Dude, you killed this.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun.
You were so good. If Matt's listening, I think you.
Oh, he's listening.
If Matt's listening, you need the rest of the afternoon off, and you get a couple of cold beers.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I appreciate the sentiment without a doubt.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jerry.
I love it. I love it. He was so good. That was so good. I didn't know what to expect right there, but that was so good. Rob was so good. I love the background. That's the new #1 background on the I Love CVille show, courtesy of Beck Cohen. Beck Cohen supersedes and trumps and takes over Guadalajara on JPA and Fry Springs as having the new best backdrop on the I Love CVille show. Guadalajara on Fry Springs is the #2 slot. There was a couple of times in that interview. Do you guys remember Back to the Future, the movie? Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox? When Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future 1, and even in Back to the Future 2, Michael J. Fox was playing an Enchantment Under the Sea dance, where his parents met for the first time. And he had a photo of himself, and he was disappearing from the photo of himself because his parents weren't meeting at this dance, or they were having an encounter that wasn't going how it was supposed to go. And he was disappearing from the photo. That's how I felt Rob was right there a couple times. He was disappearing from the shot. I liked it. He brought some swagger, gave me a little reminiscent of Marty McFly in Back to the Future. The next guest is from Tiger Fuel. We're going to welcome Taylor Sutton to the program. Tiger Fuel, a phenomenal brand in the Charlottesville community. Tiger Fuel is committed to having a better footprint in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, doing work the right way. You see them very committed to the University of Virginia athletics. in its athletic department. What I'm going to do now, Judah, is I'm going to try to get Taylor Sutton on the line. In fact, it's ringing. As we celebrate positivity in our community in this COVID-19 landscape, there are positive stories to tell. And J-Dubs, I have Taylor on the line. If you can give me the thumbs up, if we can go to him. All right, I am getting the thumbs up. Taylor, you are live. Thank you for that thumbs up too, Taylor. I appreciate that. You're live in Charlottesville in Central Virginia. Taylor, introduce yourself to the viewing public.
Hey there, I'm Taylor Sutton. I work for Tiger Fuel Company, family business here in Charlottesville. I'm one of the few remaining in the office after sending about 80% of our folks home, but we deliver propane and gasoline, heating oil, and also have a series of convenience stores where we serve delicious food sprinkled throughout the city.
I like it. I like that answer. And one of my favorite aspects of doing the show now in this format, Taylor, as opposed to in person, is I get a look into everybody's offices and what's behind them. I like this old school printer you have over your shoulder right there. Is that what that is?
There's a lot of old school here. My dad started this business in 1982, and I'm actually in the office that he resided in at one point, and there's still some relics laying around, so I'm working on the renovation or redecorating, but I'll get to that as soon as I can.
I like it, dude. I like the tiger picture over your shoulder. That thing is fierce right there. All right, so Tiger Fuel, you're live for Charlottesville. Talk to us about the company, how you guys are responding.
So, pretty immediately, our HR director did a really good job of crafting our response, and fortunately we had a really good IT director, and most of our folks had laptops that they could just undock from their systems and take home. So we're really fortunate in that regard. So our offices almost immediately sent folks home, and they are still home and will be for the foreseeable. We're hoping to start unpack that in the next couple weeks, but for now we've just been doing our best from home. The convenience stores, obviously you can't make sandwiches from home, so that's been really tough. So we quickly had some sneeze guards made and had the plexiglass put up in front of the guys. Got a bunch of masks, obviously, bandanas, you name it. Everything was in short supply, so it was a pretty good scramble to try to find that stuff. But, try to get as much PPE for people. We had companies come in and fog our stores with antiseptic to try to, ward off any potential disease, and then we're just cleaning everything all the time. We've got our guys out, wiping down the pumps, doing the full service gas delivery or pumping for people. So trying to do everything that we can. But it's definitely been tough. The landscape changed every 12 hours, it seems. So we're constantly doing our best to try to juggle that and to do it, remotely with a lot of video conferences, a lot of phone calls. It's been a challenge, but I'm really proud of what our company's been able to do.
Can we throw that to you, the concept of innovation and hard times? We were talking about this with Hayes Humphreys, COO Devil's Backbone, and he was talking about we had like 8 weeks to figure out to go and curbside and taking beer directly to the consumer, and we're doing this better than we ever have. And he saw a light at the end of the tunnel, like when we get out of this and people can start going back to base camp at Devil's Backbone, he's like, we've improved these 3 things better than we've ever done, and hopefully we can operate better than we've ever done once we can operate again. That topic to you.
Absolutely true. Thank God we had put a ton of effort into developing an app that would allow customers to order mobily, and we added a option to do curbside pickup as a part of that. So it was fortuitous that we had already put a lot of energy into that, and it was released and working right as this hit. So that made a tremendous difference in our customers' ability to order and for us to serve them without them coming into the stores. Similarly for the office staff, this was a rushed trial of something we weren't sure was possible. But if anything, we've proven that we are much more agile than we thought previously, and we can be flexible and let people work from home if they need be, or if the world forces that on us. And in the convenience stores, being essential, people have got to have gas at the pump, which means the stores do stay open. So we were sort of lucky and hindered by that, because we were still open but tried to work as safely as possible. So really proud of everyone's ability to be flexible and make things work. And I agree. I think once this is all said and done, and that could be a while, but once it's over with, everything should seem a lot easier, and we'll be a lot stronger for it.
You're getting a lot of props from people. A lot of people saying Woodbury Forest in the house. What? To Taylor right now. We're live on 12 Facebook pages here. Any comments you want to relay to the man, just put them in the comment section. I'll pass it along to him. Dude, let me throw this to you here. So we talk a lot of small business here. You are a trusted brand in this community. It's crazy. Okay, so you got the food piece. That changed completely. You got people staying at home that can't get in their cars and drive around and pump gas. That changed completely. The price of oil is going bananas. You're probably following that. That changed. I mean, Taylor, you drinking some bourbon here? What are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, definitely after 5, there's some drinks going down. But it seems like anything that could change did change in a dramatic fashion. So it's crazy. It was, every day I feel like there were 2 bombs dropped on us. And, so it's just get sort of punch drunk after a while. And we're just, handling as it comes. It's crazy, having the home delivery side of it. Fortunately, those guys don't have to encounter a lot of folks. They're in the truck by themselves and going and filling a tank. But every other piece of our business is a lot of human touch as a part of it. So, it's just it's been a whirlwind to say the least.
How do you guys look at Friday, phase 1?
So we're just got out of a meeting a second ago where we're talking about how we're going to start phasing people back in. Whereas we sent everyone home in a mad panic. I was actually I was at the last NBA full game played in Dallas for a benchmarking meeting, and traveled back from that. And this all hit right when that happened. So we sent everyone home as quickly as possible. So bringing them back, we're going to do it slowly and try to stagger that just to sort of see how things go. But starting next week, we will be bringing a few people back into the office, and then over the next 3 weeks, we'll sort of have our own phases of bringing folks back and seeing how it goes. But we want to be really deliberate and careful and cautious about that, and not just pretend like nothing happened, starting on Friday. So that's our plan.
Barry Bibb giving you some props right now. Guys, give it a like, give it a share on any of these Facebook pages. We'll get to these comments. How about this one, man? And I throw this one to everyone on the show because I think it's timely. Like, we are so committed, all of us, to bettering Charlottesville. How about that dichotomy of, like, keeping the community healthy, supporting our small businesses that are our neighbors, but not at the detriment of maybe getting it around to. It's like this weird, like, nebulous, fluid area.
Right. Yeah, it's super tough. I mean, obviously, there's a ton of businesses that have been super hard hit. A lot of the non-essential stuff, a lot of our friends and partners in the restaurant industry that have dissolved completely. It's pretty scary to see that, and the unemployment numbers are flying up. And in one way, we're really blessed and extremely fortunate to be able to remain open and still have the business and the income that we do. But like you said, we have to change everything about how we do it to be as safe as possible. But we've made all those efforts, and a lot of it, the hand washing and the limited interaction is something that we probably should have been doing better even before this. So we've learned a lot from that and run with it, and I think a lot of these practices will change as they go on, and we're really hoping to grow and continue to increase our brand and have more stores out there. There's one we're working on, have been working on for years, in Boyne Tavern exit off 64. We want to build a store there, and that would be 24 jobs that we could put some of these folks that have been put out of work as a result of this. We could have that as in the next year or so. So we're really energized to continue to grow our footprint and offer more jobs and great services to our community.
You're a diehard sports fan.
Absolutely.
Diehard, me too. Diehard orange and blue. Dude, there's nothing I like more than tailgating a Scott Stadium football game. I prefer like a 3 or 4 o'clock tip. And why I prefer a 3 or 4 o'clock tip, and let's get you back on screen. You may have turned that camera off. Why I prefer that 3 or 4 o'clock tip, Taylor, is I like to have a couple cold ones, eat some fried chicken, and then go into the game. UVA football, what do you think is going to happen this fall?
Oh, man.
How much you miss it?
Really proud of what Bronco Mendenhall has done. The turnaround the team's had since he's shown up is just outstanding. And, his recruiting has gotten better and better. Our team has made obviously huge leaps every year, and this year looked as good as any. So, I'm really selfishly want the season to go on like normal. I'm hoping that we can get things back rolling again, because I think we'll have a really strong season like we did last year. So yeah, I think it's hard to say, and you want to hedge your eagerness to be around people with your concern for people's well-being as well. But I don't know. I think, well, I'm hoping we'll have at least a limited season, and I'm mostly confident that basketball, hopefully we'll have our hands around this problem by the time that comes around.
So you're saying we're having cold beers on a patio then at a local restaurant and not at Scott Stadium watching the game?
Yeah, that sounds good, and I believe that's the case.
I think that's what's going to happen too. All right, AHIP, Tiger Fuel and AHIP.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
So AHIP, we've been working with them for the last couple of years, and they just do such an outstanding job of taking care of our community. For the last 2 years, we've designated $10,000 worth of service where we'll set tanks, deliver fuel, install heaters, gas lines, stuff like that for folks. But we've also, throughout the summer, have these Day of Caring, or we've personalized it with the Tiger Fueling It Forward initiative, where we'll go one day out of every month and do some work building either a ramp to make a house more handicap accessible, or paint houses, or you name it, whatever is required. And they do such a good job of finding people in need. There's no shortage of that, and also having great partners. Beck Cohen is one that really turned us on to that. Matt Wilkinson is a great friend of ours, and we were glad to get signed up with them and be able to give back to our community that's taken such good care of us since 1982.
Dude, you've killed this interview. Stephanie Wells Rhodes has a message for you. She says, "Hey Taylor, Stephanie with Interstate, Larry Rhodes' wife. I think he's coming to see you tonight. You're doing a great job." We have a lot of comments like this. Taylor Sutton doing so well in this setting. All right, final word, Taylor Sutton. Anywhere you want to go, show is yours. Anything you want to talk about?
All right. Well, I would just say, back on the thread of us trying to grow and be able to offer our services further and broader, this Boyd Tavern site, we've got a county meeting on May 20th, and we'd love some support for anybody that, likes our French bread sandwiches or our attractive stores to put in a good word for us. It's a commercial site. We'd love to have a nice Tiger Fuel market there instead of a, General Dollar or something like that. So please be aware of that, and it's being done on Zoom, just like everything else. But we'd love to have some support and bring some more jobs to the area.
Why wouldn't that happen?
Well,
I live on that side of town. I live in Glenmore. I live on that side of town.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, we're going to need you on that.
I'm in. Tell me, why won't this happen? We need that.
It's in a beautiful setting like Albemarle County. There's a lot of folks that just don't want to see things change. There's opposition to almost anything that you try to do, unfortunately. But I understand that. I grew up right off of that exit. I was there until I was about 7 years old, and you don't want to potentially destroy the rural setting there. But anybody that's seen one of our stores knows that they're not a typical gas station. We're nice restaurants that sell fuel, and we have built tasteful stores, and we're not trying to upset any of the locals there, and we'd be providing 24 new jobs. We'd be using less water than two typical households. So I think that land could be used for anything, and from a commercial setting, I think that one of our markets is a much better option than some of the other alternatives out there.
I 100% agree with you, and you would crush it there. That is such an untapped and captivated market that's ready for something. You crushed this interview, dude. Thank you for coming on the show.
All right.
I appreciate you. Taylor Sutton, boys and girls. I agree 100%. I would love a Tiger Fuel on the Boyd Tavern exit. That, and I catch a lot of flack for this, and I catch a lot of flack because I am one of the younger people in the neighborhood on that side of town, and I'm for strategic development as opposed to no development. And I would much strategically prefer a Tiger Fuel and elevated gas station over some kind of big box that has no true ties or commitment to the area. And Boyd Tavern and that east side of town, dude, I found this out the other day. There are 830 homes in Glenmore alone. 830 homes alone in that neighborhood. And there's really only one gas station. It's that Liberty on the corner on that cross, that X, where you can go to Keswick or you can go right to Clifton and to Glenmore. It would crush. And I would love some delicious French bread sandwiches. Taylor Sutton, thank you very much. This is the I Love CVille show on the I Love CVille network. Tomorrow we talk more restaurants and reopening with Kate Elwood. Kate Elwood is great people, and Kate Elwood has got, and Kate, what I'm going to do is look it up right here on my laptop. The Charlottesville Restaurant Fund is raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for out-of-work servers and dishwashers and hosts and hostesses and barkeeps. And she's allocating these hundreds of thousands of dollars that she's raising in a crowdfunding GoFundMe capacity. She's allocating these dollars in micropayments to out-of-work restaurant workers in our community. I love it. It's innovation. It's innovation. Former general manager at Citizen Burger Bar, Kate Elwood. Now, is it the director? Am I calling you the director, Kate? The Charlottesville Restaurant Fund tomorrow. I'm going to recap quickly because this comment is coming on the thread constantly. 70 restaurants, vineyards, breweries, and wineries opening Friday. 70. Of those, mainly are breweries and wineries because of the vast amount of land that they have with their business and the ability for social distancing and 6 foot of space. However, restaurants like Ace Biscuit and Barbecue are opening Friday at 8. The Blue Ridge Country Store is opening Monday morning. I'm intrigued to follow that opening with the Blue Ridge Country Store and its salad bar and how that's going to be managed. Breweries, Pro Renata, Random Row, Three Notch, Wisdom Tree, Blue Mountain Barrel House, and Blue Mountain Brewery all opening. And vineyards, King Family, and Glass House off the top of my head. I'm getting more information from restaurant owners now and vineyards that are opening. So we'll post that up on I Love CVille. Thank you guys for joining us on the program. I love you guys. This is the I Love CVille show on the I Love CVille network. We will see you at 3 o'clock today with our animal-focused show, What's Barking Local, that showcases the Charlottesville and Central Virginia animal community, powered by Animal Connection and the McIntyre Plaza. 20 years proudly serving Charlottesville and Central Virginia. Animal Connection and the McIntyre Plaza. Take care, guys.